In the family tree of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, there is no shortage of both schemers and dreamers. As we've seen with Jacob, sometimes schemers are also dreamers. In today's episode, the roles of schemer and dreamer are divided between the sons of Jacob, with tragicomic results. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Monday, October 23rd, 2023. I was driving home yesterday listening to country music on the radio. I know, I don't seem like a country music kind of guy, but I like a lot of classic country. A song came on the radio from a country music icon, Dolly Parton. The song tells the story of a little girl whose family is so poor, her mother had to sew her a coat out of a box of rags that someone had donated to the family. When she went to school after the coat was finished, the other children laughed at her. But the little girl was not discouraged, because she thought she had the coolest, most unique coat. As her mother had sewed the rags together, she told the little girl the story of Joseph and his coat of many colors. And that's the name of Dolly Parton's sweet autobiographical song, Coat of Many Colors. The story of Joseph's coat is fascinating. He was the next youngest child in the family. Genesis tells us that he was his father Jacob's favorite, and he made Joseph a special coat. Traditionally, the Hebrew was translated coat of many colors, but more recent translations have rendered it a coat with sleeves. Either way, it was enough to cause friction between Joseph and his brothers. The reason is simple. A coat with sleeves was not a working man's coat. It was special and marked him as a favored child. Joseph by this time has already earned his brother's ire by tattling on some of his brothers for some unspecified infraction while they were out tending sheep. The addition of the special coat only served to deepen their hatred of Joseph. The last straw was a pair of dreams he had that he reported to his brothers. In the dreams, he sees his brothers bowing down to him. In the first, he sees sheaves of wheat in a field, and his sheaf of wheat stands up while his brothers' sheaves gather around Joseph's and bow down to it. And in the second dream, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars, representing their father and mother and the 11 brothers, bow down to his star. If Joseph is guilty of anything, it is not that he's a schemer. It is that he didn't have the good sense to keep these dreams to himself. A schemer would have kept these things quiet and pulled them out at a more opportune time. But Joseph just blurts it right out, and his brothers have had enough. They now become schemers. The scheme is simple. When Joseph sends him out to find out where his brothers are tending the flocks, his brothers conspire to kill him. Reuben convinces them not to kill him, since he is, after all, their brother, their flesh and blood. So they strip him of his precious coat and throw him into a pit with no water, where he'll surely die, though not directly at their hands. That's when they hatch another plan, and it is cold. Genesis tells us, then they sat down to eat, and looking up they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead, with their camels carrying gum, balm, and resin on their way to carry it down to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, "What profit is it if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and not lay our hands on him, for he is our brother and our own flesh." His brothers agreed. When some Midianite traders passed by, they drew Joseph up, lifting him up out of the pit, and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they took Joseph to Egypt. That is cold. It's not murder, but in some ways it's just as bad, if not worse. They make a profit off of their brother's suffering. And it gets even worse than that. They take his coat, cover it in goat's blood, and when they return home, they show it to Jacob, telling him that Joseph has been eaten by a wild animal. Their scheme is the worst sort, profiting off their brother's misery and breaking their father's heart. If that were the end of the story, it would be a tragedy. But even if you've never heard the rest of it, you just know Joseph will be saved in the last reel. The writer has already given us a glimpse of a coming poetic justice through Joseph's dreams. But this round goes to the schemers. The question is, what will God do with it? What will God do with this? Tomorrow, it's not revenge or even a comeuppance, but Joseph comes out on top. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.